check, 1 2. 1 2 1 2.
It's really deep.
Radio check 1 2. Radio check 1 2 1 2.
Hey RCT, wanted to post a video on something I came across earlier walking around with my FRS radio. I'm sorry, I'm trying to still set up while I do this. So have you ever been walking around with your FRS radio and you hear a interference or a disturbance in your FRS radio? So again, for those who know, this is an FRS radio, family radio service. These came out some time ago that you can publicly use without a license. You can pick these up at Walmart, Target, Amazon, and they're limited with the amount of powers and channels that you can actually use. A lot of businesses are using these now, restaurants and stores, so you may be able to hear a few conversations taking place throughout your neighborhood or throughout your drive in the city. So, but what I want to do is I want to take one of these, and I don't think this is going to work. This is a Walmart FRS I picked up. I think it was like $20-$30 for two of these. See, this is a 2.5. It's not going to fit. I want to show you the difference of the audio or the interference that you may come across while you're using your FRS radio. And again, if you're using an FRS radio without a quiet code or a privacy tone or whatever they call it on the radio that you buy, you're going to get a lot of interference. You're going to hear other people use the radio. You're going to hear some just interferences as what you think would be interference, but there's actually something behind that that again you may not be familiar with unless you're well diverse in radios or frequencies and the formulas, the formats that they can be using. So let me find something else to plug into. Maybe this is not going to work. I may just use a Baofeng just to listen. So give me 1 second. I'll be right back. All right, RCT, I am back. I apologize. I was trying to figure out how to record from the Baofeng using an auxiliary cord directly to the laptop or phone. I guess I don't know how to do that before. There was a time that I was able to. But anyways, I wanted to go through and show you what it sounds like to have interference. Like I said before, you're walking around with your FRS radio without a quiet code or CTCSS, DCS. Just the FRS channel open so you can hear everything. And you come across these certain noises that you're not really sure what it is. And again, you think it's interference or something else making this noise. I do have our Uniden scanner here recording for us directly. Again, I couldn't figure out how to do it with the laptop, so I'm just going to record through this. So thank you, Uniden, for having that feature where I can record everything that comes through. Very awesome. So, all right, so one of the things, so again, this is the sound I'm trying to make you realize or remember if you ever heard it while you're walking around. Here is a noise. Nope, not that one. That is just someone trying to talk, and it's too far to hear anything. And that's this one here. So this one doesn't have a squelch control. And squelch control, what it does is it lets you actually change the strength of the squelch, right? So let's see if we can find it here. I think I posted something about this before, but just to kind of help you understand what I mean. So this is squelch control number 1, if you can see it here. Let's bring it down to 0. That's all you're going to hear. Right? So that's all we're hearing is just a static noise. That's really with no squelch control, and it's very, very annoying. So let's put it up to, let's just say 5. I think generally it's 6. Oops. It's usually 6 for standard radios. I know when you program the Motorola XTS 3000 or 5000, the squelch control is generally around 6. It's because, again, the stronger the signal, the more, the less you're going to have interrupted. So, so again, oh, sorry. So again, these are both able to receive. See, again, that stays without squelch control because it's just a cheaper brand. It doesn't have a very good squelch control. So that's why whenever you hear that, it takes, see, there it is. It takes it a little longer for the squelch control to kick in. So I would say, in my opinion, this is a very cheap squelch control that they put in this, and it would just be annoying. So, anyways, so let's talk about the noise that we're hearing. 2 different noises you could be hearing. There's this one. Not the last part. The last part was just a general squelch that's open. But listen to this one more time. Okay. Actually, let me put the microphone to it. All right. So that is P25 coming through. So P25, Project 25, is the public safety format, or I guess formula used for their digital version. A lot of public safeties are no longer going with analog. It's generally just the P25 version. There are some departments still out there using analog, which by all means could be better. Digital P25 does have its advantages when it comes to communication or signaling, information being swapped from back and forth in the radio. Again, nothing wrong with analog. The Motorola uses MTS, which is their analog digital coding, and then Astros are full on digital. So that's the one sound that you may hear as you're coming across your radio, or thinking it's receiving some sort of interference. But again, it's just because your radio, your FRS radio, is P25. I'm sorry, is analog, FRS analog, or whatever frequency it's on, analog, and the frequency, the interference you're hearing is actually coming with a different format but same frequency. So the next one, let's see if we can hear this one as well. I'll put the microphone up to the radio, but this is DMR, digital mobile radio. And it's interesting because sometimes it doesn't pick up, sometimes it does, but we'll see what it does right now. All right. Okay, so that was DMR again. So same thing. It's a digital format, but just a different radio. So this is a XPR XPR 6550, older band or older radio that is pretty much kind of being moved out the way now that they have the newer versions. They had XPR 7550, and I think now to replace those, the XPR family is now the R series, which is R2, R7. Similar make, just can do a lot more, bigger screen. It's just updated. So again, let's listen to that one more time, and this is going to be DMR. Okay, let me take away the FRS radio, or this one here, because the squelch control is just absolutely annoying. So let's see what it sounds like with just the Baofeng, if you're just running the Baofeng and FRS frequency without any CTCSS or any quiet codes, quiet tones. All right, one more time. Let's stand by. Okay, so that was DMR. Let's do P25. All right. Do you ever hear that usually and you're thinking it's some sort of interference? And this is just it as normal.
Check, check, 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Okay, that's your normal analog. And again, P25 is DMR. All right, so that is what you are probably hearing. Again, it's not any interference. It's just because your radio is not formatted or the same formula, however you want to call it, to receive that type of signal. Again, DMR and P25. There's quite a few different other digital formats that I mean, there's several out there now that it's just quite amazing how we can use. Sorry about that. Looks like the phone stopped recording and probably notified me, but I wasn't paying attention. So just to go over what I think I told you and probably what you missed is that DMR, P25, and your analog are set differently or designed, built differently, programmed differently in order to receive certain frequencies and receive certain tones. Again, when you're running FRS without a quiet code or quiet tone, privacy tone, whatever you want to call it, it you're allowing anything to come through with coding or not coding. And again, someone that's broadcasting on a PL or a private line or CTCSS or all right, team, one more time. Let's see if this works. I don't know what's going on. Phone storage is just such a joke. You can never really tell how much you're going to have left. Anyways, one more time. Again, I'm sorry. I don't know where I left off. I was just explaining that, the two different radios or three different radios will not unmute unless you have the right tones or privacy code or quiet tones. In this case, if this has a privacy tone and this doesn't, this will still hear what this is saying, but whatever is being talked on this one without a tone will not be heard on this one because this radio was told to only unmute with this frequency and this tone only. But it does work vice versa, where if this one doesn't have a tone, you can still hear this one because this is saying everything and anything. Right. Okay. But let's test the audio one more time. I did want to test a different radio so you can hear the difference. Baofeng specifically has a different sound to it. It's almost as an interference when it comes to DMR, but this is P25, and then we'll go to DMR. P25 is right here. All right, now this one's going to be DMR. Okay. Now I wanted to test a different radio so you can hear the difference of what a different FRS or different radio may be hearing. Every radio does sound a little different when it comes to audio. So let's turn this annoying one on and see what it sounds like. Okay. I'll leave it at 1 and I'll put the microphone here because this is a very loud, annoying radio. The squelch control is terrible, meaning any key up is really going to interfere. So let me show you what I mean by that. See, there you go. It's just anything comes through.
Check, check, 1, 2.
So that's what I mean. The squelch control is so terrible that it takes it a few seconds to say, hey, nothing else is coming through, mute the radio. So right now, squelch control is muting the radio until something comes through, then I'll unmute it. And again, it's just so cheap that it takes a minute for it to go back to silence. So one more time, we're just going to test, obviously, analog. We'll go to P25 and then DMR.
Check, check, 1, 2. This is analog, obviously.
Annoying. Very annoying. Okay, now we're going to go up to, what is this? P25. Sorry, I'm moving the microphone back and forth. Actually, the little clip just broke off, and I'm trying to get the audio as close as I can to the radio. I'll have to figure out how to directly record from the radio to a laptop or phone later. All right, this is going to be P25 on this FRS radio directly. All right, we'll wait for it to shut off. That is just terribly annoying. Okay, now we're going to try out DMR. Okay, so that was DMR. That's just directly from the radio. So again, if you're ever strolling down with your FRS and you don't have a quiet tone on, in this case, this one is open. I'll put a tone on right now because it's just annoying hearing everything come through. So that's just a difference of your P25 coming through an FRS radio and your DMR coming through an FRS radio. So don't feel as if you're being interrupted or you're interfering with something. Something's interfering with you. It's just more because your radio is not designed to capture P25 DMR or any other digital format that it might be receiving. All right, team, that's all I have. I'll cut this short and I'll try to clip these together since my phone decided to act up and cut every few seconds and minutes. Sorry about the lighting. I am a big fan of what is it, RGB. So hopefully, again, I'm not really a fan of harsh lighting or fluorescent lighting or just your ceiling fan lighting. So this way, kind of gives a little bit more of a cool presentation to it. So, anyways, that's all I really have. I think what I'll do is I'll field test these again with the FRS radio. I think I might have to get a different FRS radio. I do have right now, it's that DeWalt that I still plan to test. So maybe that might work better with hearing the audio. I'm not a very big fan of the DeWalt right now because actually let me grab it because actually it died, and the cool thing is you can charge it with the USB directly to the radio. But the speaker, the audio is just kind of terrible. Oops, sorry. Let's see if this one turns on. Yeah, so here you can plug it in here directly, which is pretty cool. But the audio just sounds different. It's very muffled, and it's quite interesting because these do sound like a bunch of construction workers talking and yelling on the radio. You know how they are. They're loud because of the equipment or the tools in the background, so they definitely have to raise their voice and talk directly into the radio. So, but anyways, maybe I'll field test these and see as I'm walking around what kind of interference I get, or if we pick up P25 or DMR on the FRS frequency. Recommend looking at the user manual to see what kind of options they have. Again, the Baofeng has a squelch control where you can change the strength of it. These other radios like the Motorola's, you really have to change the squelch control in the CPS, the customer programming software. Fairly easy to do, so it's not an issue. When it comes to, again, FRS radios, those are already set and locked for you. There's no way to change them, so that's just the difficult part. So the less squelch control you have, you might be able to pick up more. But generally, it becomes more just of interference or annoying static white noise from the distance that it's not strong enough to get to your radio. So that could be the negative of it. The plus could be if you're further, just like an old CB radio, you open the squelch control to 0, then you can hear everything further away, and the more you turn the squelch control on, the less you can hear in distance. So anyways, I'm going to try to close this out. I apologize for rambling on. So tell me what you think about the interference. If you ever heard the interference or came across it or listened to an FRS radio or another radio with the interference. Again, it could be even your business band radio at work. If you're using a radio and you came across this interference or noise or something similar to what we heard here, Very common, again, depending on how cheap or how expensive the radio is, or if someone else is operating on the same frequency with a different format, whether it's DMR or P25. More than likely, it's going to be DMR because DMR was designed more for everyday use, business, not so much public safety, but I have seen some correctional facilities and some EMS departments using these XPR, which is there's nothing bad with them, just a different format than a P25. In fact, we just recently tested out the DMR and the P25 in our neighborhood while we're biking around, and we noticed that DMR with the original antenna tuned, DMR, we didn't get the right distance we thought we would versus P25. P25, I mean, just whooped behind on all of these radios, including the Baofeng. I wish I can show you what I mean by that, because the first day we started biking around, what we do is we jump on the bike and we kind of separate and kind of go our own ways, because I like to do metal, pedal to the metal and just bike all over the neighborhood. And I do about maybe 7 miles or 8 miles, maybe, if anything. And she likes to stroll. So we took the Baofengs at one time, and the Baofengs were terrible. I mean, just interference, static, even on the privacy tone, quiet code. We did terrible. And then we finally busted out the P25, and that did awesome. I mean, that just did great. And then we decided to go to the XPR, this one here, because it's a fairly lighter, smaller radio than the XTS 3000, obviously. But this one didn't do as good as this one. This one, I again, for some reason, just rocked. And then we decided to switch to the XTS 1500s, and that did just as good as these, and still better than that. So, anyways, not part of the video. Just kind of want to let you know that these radios, they do make a difference in antennas and wattage and codes and however they develop. So, thanks for tuning in. Feel free to question if you have any questions. Drop them below. Hit me up on Instagram. Feel free to leave a comment, message me, give me your feedback, ideas, or if you come across any sort of interference. Again, thanks for watching. Hit me up on Instagram. I'll close this out now. Let's see. Let's use this one and this one. Let's see. Oops. Let's go to. Here we go. All right.
Radio check, over now.
To the 964 northbound 051 at Bell. Per the GPS, it's going to be in the gore point for the Bell off-ramp northbound, and the involved is stating he possibly has a broken arm, which I'm starting things fire for at 20 hours.